it's Havoc with the HGC Gaming YouTube channel. It's day 15 of the Ark Let's Play series on the island map. Today we will be getting the Doedicurus, finally, and also some scorpions to start laying some eggs so that we can look forward to kibble taming a high-level T-Rex, hopefully in the not-too-distant future. We got a saber-tooth now, building in a saddle for him. We knocked him out at level 230. We'll check it out and see what level he winded up at, hopefully over level 300. But we'll see. So my buddy Justin just downloaded Ark, and he's gearing up and getting ready to go to start a server with me. Haven't talked to Blaze yet. I'll keep everybody up to date on what's going on with that. I think that would be really, really interesting. A little bit about Justin. He and I are extremely good friends. We connected very quickly in the squadron that we were working out of. Kind of, like minds, and he's hilarious, a very funny guy. He actually does some comedy on the side. He's been getting out there and doing stand-up, and which takes a lot of balls. I mean, holy shit, to get up in front of a ton of people, even to get up in front of 5 people and try to entertain them with humor. I mean, that's got to be rough, but he's doing it. And then Blaze, a little bit about him, and hopefully, God, I hope I can convince him to hop on the server and play. He and I have had a lot of experiences together. When Justin and I were friends for a much longer time, but Blaze and I have been friends for a very long time now as well. I think it's been like 8 years, and then me and Justin probably about 10. Just a long time. God, it's been 10 years. I'll have to ask Justin about that. Fucking decade. Might as well just be considered brothers by now. But Blaze and Justin are both very good gamers. They kind of have the same kind of history as myself. We all started young and haven't stopped. So, I think even if, we were to do like a PvP file where we could find a group of people to come onto our server and play against us, I'd feel bad for them, to be honest. Not to get too cocky or anything like that, but there's a lot of processing power when me and Land and Blaze get together. And same with my brother John. He's a very potent gamer as well. Brooke is a little bit newer, but I think that would make it interesting. She has had the graciousness to get into gaming. She wasn't much of a gamer. She liked Zelda. She likes Zelda a lot. Kind of adventure games. She likes Civ 6 a lot, which I give her mad props for. That's not an easy game to learn, and she's just as good, if not better than me at that game. So Brooke hopefully will be joining us. Molly, Blaze's girlfriend, I don't know too much about her. Blaze and Molly and I played a file together for a while, and she was very good at the game. From what I saw, Blaze and Molly had their own thing going on. Then I kind of played solo, and then we would team up when it would be time to get like Quetzals or something. So that would be awesome. Yeah, no, I hope that we can bring that to you. I think that'd be very funny and entertaining, and amongst the humor and interesting dialogue, I think that there would also be a nice display of a range of skills for everybody to witness as well. I know nothing's crazy has really happened yet in this file. I mean, I haven't died yet, and it's day 14. So there's something to be said about that, I suppose. Again, I forgot what day I said it, maybe day 7 or something like that, but my whole philosophy with video games is kill to death ratio. I absolutely do not like dying. Sometimes I'll accept it and let it go, but other times, especially if it's like something really dumb, like if I were attacking that T-Rex and I got stuck in its body or something and I couldn't get out and I got killed that way, I would not be pleased. Or in the lava cave, like jumping into the lava pit or like sliding off into it with my best saber tooth. That kind of shit pisses me off no end. But, you know, if I get outskilled or I take a risk and I know it's a high risk and I fail, then I'm typically okay with it. Another time I'm okay with dying is when I'm trying something new. And I 100% accept the reality that, okay, if I do this, I might die. And, you know, I'll make sure that I don't have anything crazy on me. You know, I don't want to lose any good items or anything like that. So, I don't mind dying. One thing that I've done is when you jump off of your flyer and you're looking to parachute, you have to deploy your parachute fairly high up. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to deploy the parachute and slow down enough before you hit the ground. So I actually killed myself like 10, 15 times in a row once, just trying to figure out what that, when is the latest you can pull the parachute and survive. So I experimented around with that. I think that kind of shit's good to know. I mean, when you first start playing a game, you just gotta learn the basics, and then once you get the basics, you can start fine-tuning some more of the nitpicky and detailed things that you wouldn't really think about, you know, until you reach that point where you know all the basics. Now it's time to really get into the skills beyond, I guess is a decent way to put it. Yeah, so I gotta bring my raft, this stupid Doedicurus, because I can't seem to find one or get one to spawn on that peninsula. I wonder if that's where I lost my preserving bin. We'll see. Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting around that. These little glaciers, these little ice caps, because the boat has such a high turn radius. It takes a little bit of finagling to get it to fit just right. That's what she said. And content just got mature. Level 200 female. Not terrible. I'm thinking if I should tame it or not. Oh, level 340. The Sabertooth has turned out pretty nice. And I got a, what is green? Was that Ramshackle? Something like that, I don't know. Certainly better than the original. So, I'm glad to have at least gotten that. Oh, look. Okay, so the campfires were destroyed. I bet you the preserving bin was destroyed then, too. I bet you one of those backpacks on that ice cap has all my preserving bin shit in it. But I didn't realize it while I was playing. My mind was on one thing. The Doedicurus. Yeah, so my Pteranodon got pushed in there by one of the ice caps, it looks like. Looking for the Doedicurus. They're sneaky. They're actually like super sneaky, and they're faster than you probably think that they could be. Like, they're pretty slow, but I think it's easy to overestimate their slowness. Well, I'm not halfway through the video yet, but I just want to make sure. Yep, all good to go. So I'm actually making really nice progress in this game. If you're playing vanilla, the default game with no mods, and you didn't mess with the max wild dino level cap or anything like that, chances are, let's see here, let me try to approximate in my mind how many days it would take to get to where I'm at on day 15 with the mods and the max wild dino cap. Maybe day 22, a 7-day lead. Seems to be a fair approximation, I think. Yeah, so I just punched that Doedicurus. Now it's chasing me. So they are kiteable. If you do too much damage to them, they'll curl up in a ball and not move. Doedicurus is a pain in the ass. I think it's dumb that Argents can't pick up the Doedicurus. But of course, I would say that because I'm having a problem with working this one in. Yeah, and if you don't get your Doedicurus here, I think really the only other good places to find them are at the bases of mountains. And typically the bases of mountains are a little far away. Like they can oftentimes be a good distance away from the coastline. So you'd have to kite it a good distance. So as far as I know, this is the shortest distance you have to kite a Doedicurus to get them into your mobile taming raft. If you know of a better place, please put it in the comment section below. I'm always willing to learn. Slowly but surely. And of course, all these random predators keep popping up. Making things a hassle. Yeah, it really didn't do that much damage to my health. I am slightly concerned about how effective a level 40 Doedicurus is going to be. I still do think that's going to be a lot better than using a hatchet on boulders. So at the very least, it's going to be way better than nothing. Yep, so you can open the gates while you're on your dino. Just get close to the door and hit E, and you can open the gate, no problem. Okay. Yeah, and intuitively you would think that a Doedicurus would be able to take down a stone wall pretty easily, but they're pretty harmless once you get them in there. I mean, they're super good at getting stone out of boulders. Okay, look. Oh, yeah, my preserving bin's gone. So it must have happened back by that ice cap. Super lame. I was actually trying to think of how to kill it. It's a good thing I had those utility plus spears on me. Yeah, what's interesting is your melee damage actually affects the throwing spear. So I was actually doing quite a bit of damage there for a throwable spear. Now, I know I've looked at this Doedicurus before, but I just want to make sure I couldn't find something better than a level 40. Yeah, so those higher level crossbows, the upper tier crossbows would be good for killing shit with the crossbow, which I'm not really interested in doing. The only real interest that I ever have for the crossbow is taming stuff. I mean, you can certainly kill some pretty decent shit with a high level crossbow. It's an effective weapon. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just by the time I'm looking to kill dinos with my own, body, not being on a dino, a tame dino, I usually have guns at that point. Sniper rifle. I like my modern sniper rifle. Yeah, and then what will happen is, of course, watch, yeah, it hits me from underneath. But once I get close to getting this Doedicurus knocked out, it's going to curl up into a ball, and it's going to be a pain in the ass to trank it out from there. So when it does that, you've got a couple options. You can just keep on nailing it, but you're going to go through a lot of trank arrows, or you can wait for it to come back out of its shell, hit it, it'll go back in its shell, back off, let it come out of its shell again, shoot it until you finally knock it out. So I think hopefully once it's done, I wanted to see if I could pick it up, but so once it's done, it'll be interesting to see what level it comes out as. Maybe level 50. Whoops. Clumsy, Havoc. Yeah, that'll get me every once in a while, the way you jump off of a dino. Usually it's pretty uniform, and you can kind of judge. You kind of get used to how you jump off of different dinos. But every once in a while I just kind of mess up. I get a little bit reckless. Yeah, you can punch it a ton of times. I don't know if that's actually tranking it at all, though. That's something to look up. I just wanted to punch it for a little while to see if that would knock it out, but I think honestly I could continue to do this the rest of the day and still not have it knocked out, because if it's not doing any damage, I don't feel like my punches are getting through at all. So I don't think I'm actually knocking it out at all right now. Yeah, and then since the trank arrows are only doing 3 damage, only a tiny bit of the narcotics from the trank arrow is getting through. So it could take a lot of trank arrows doing it this way. Kind of like the blue color of it. I'm not huge on the aesthetics. I'd rather have a hot pink and purple level 300 Doedicurus than a super cool looking level 200. Just give me something with good stats and I'll be happy. Yeah, so I've got some crystal. Not enough to build the greenhouse with. but you know, I got the 2 Argents, and I got some mountains that are close to Sanctuary Island, so once I get back to Sanctuary Island, I'm going to work on collecting all the metal from all the metal nodes, getting those into the refining forges, turning them into metal ingots, so that I can build the Ascendant Pickaxe, and I'm going to see if I can build the metal upgrade station. That'd be really nice to get, so that's something else I'm going to need the metal for. And I'll take, once I get all the raw metal into the refining forges, get the refining forge going, I'll hop on the Argents and do some mountain hopping, grabbing the crystal, and probably some obsidian as well. You know, you don't need a ton of obsidian right away. You know, metal is one of the, probably the first uncommon resource you want to focus on, and then oil or crystal, and then obsidian and silica pearls. Yeah, I would actually not take my Sabertooth against an Alpha Raptor. It's a level 340, I think it was, Sabertooth, and let's say I ran across a level 70 Alpha Raptor. I could probably take it with a standard saddle, but I don't know if I'd want to risk it. But if I had an Ascendant saddle, that would mean my Sabertooth would have a lot of armor on it, and I'd feel a lot more confident taking on Alpha Dinos at that point with a Sabertooth. I mean, the Pteranodons are just so OP, I think, that they're kind of hard to get away from. Of course, you can't take them into the caves. Actually, if you turn the option on, like before you actually get into the game, where you're in the options section, you can turn it on where you can bring flyers into caves, but it's not something I like to practice necessarily. I think that's getting a little too cheaty. The only reason why I turn on allow flyers in caves was actually because of something that happened to me in the center map. There's like this. It's like in a ruins, and it's like a passageway in a mountain. And I came across this hole in the passageway while I was on my Pteranodon. I'm like, oh, I wonder what's down there. So I started to go down the hole, and I got kicked off my Pteranodon, and I fell down the hole to my death, and my Pteranodon flew down there, and I came back to get it, and there was a bunch of centipedes and scorpions and spiders and stuff down there. And I actually ended up watching my Pteranodon slowly get killed. And it took me a lot of time to get back to where that was, because I went back to that same hole, and I was like, well, how do I get down there without my bird? And so I got there, hopped off the other Pteranodon I was on that I brought over there, and I jumped into the hole and deployed my parachute, and I actually was getting down fine, but all the insects and shit saw me and then met me on the ground and swamped me. And I was hoping I could at least get them far away enough from the Pteranodon where they would stop attacking it. And this was like a perfect tame Pteranodon. So it was just heartbreaking to me to let it just slowly die down there without trying to get it back. And I didn't know how to get into that cave any other way, so I had to go on Google, look it up, and there's actually a water passageway that you have to use to get in there. So you take a raft under these low-hanging cave walls, and you fit in there, and that's how you get into that cave the real way. And it wasn't a dungeon cave, it was just like a, I don't know, cave. No real purpose inside of it that I know of anyway. Yeah, there's me being like, what the fuck? I finally just realized it. I was so intent on getting that Doedicurus that I just kind of blocked out some of the aspects of everything else that was going on. Yeah, it's hard to pay attention to everything. I mean, you gotta watch all of your main stats in the bottom right-hand corner. You know, how cold are you, how hungry, how thirsty, how much health you have. Sometimes you need to look at that. If you're taming something, that's usually at the forefront of your mind. Making sure that none of your stuff is in danger. You know, I do try to keep an eye out for alpha T-Rexes or alpha Raptors or whatever else, alpha Allosaurs when I'm around here. So, yeah. I should have noticed that preserving been gone. That was gone a while ago, but I think it was just, what, a saber-tooth? Like, when I was on that ice cap, it was just like a saber-tooth that was attacking my shit. I could have, if I had to bet, if I were a betting man, I would have guessed that it was that Sarco that, like, reached through the wall and broke it, but I think it was actually a saber-tooth that did it. Did it in. Okay, so now I'm just kind of getting the Doedicurus into safer waters to tame it. And also, now that my preserving bin is missing, that had all my vegetables in it, I have to make a run back to base and grab what vegetables I can, which probably won't be enough, so I also gotta grab some berries to make sure that I can fully tame the Doedicurus. That would suck to have to make 2 trips. Make the trip, get the vegetables, come back, find out it's not enough. I don't want to go around hand picking the rest of the berries, so. Yeah, so I'm just putting my dinos down to the taming pen for safekeeping. They should be safe in here. If an Argent were to find its way into that ceiling, I'd be surprised. I suppose it wouldn't be impossible for a Megalodon to maybe attack them through the floor, but I don't think that's very likely. Especially considering how shallow it is here. So, yeah, if you're going to leave your tame dinos on your raft for any extended amount of time, try to put them somewhere safe. Yeah, I find that the taming pen's pretty safe. Or at least the safest place possible. Especially if you're going to leave them on passive. If you're going to leave them on neutral, you might be up for a rude awakening, and you'll come back and they'll just have disappeared. I've actually seen it where I've had a Pteranodon on neutral, and I'll come back and it will be gone, and I'll try to figure out where it is, and I'll look all over the place, and I'll see it like just flying off into the distance, just across the water, like infinitely to the other side of the map where you can't fly any further. And it's like there's no way I would have ever found that again. Like if I wouldn't have seen it flying off into the distance. There is that pet finder mod that you can get if that ever happens, but I'd rather just leave it on passive, and you know, I'd rather know that they're dead than think that they're out there still salvageable. And so, I mean, that's something you gotta think about, you know, with the risk of leaving tame dinos somewhere. Okay, something that happened here is I was hitting C, and all of a sudden this vertical screen appeared with lines of code on it, and the game froze, and like I had to restart the game. So yeah, I think it happens up in this next batch of woods. So instead of making you wait while the game booted up, and actually it set me back a little bit. It actually set me back to right before I knocked out the Doedicurus. So, okay, so you can see where it cut. So I got back to where I was at, pretty much. You didn't miss much. I don't think I put the dinos back in the taming pen this time around, so when I get back, they're going to still be outside. I was just trying to get back in and get back to it. It was kind of demoralizing, you know, because I do like everything to be continuous, but I wasn't going to restart the whole day just because that happened. Yeah, I just got sent back 15 minutes, so I just caught up and, you know. So I'm looking forward to see if the beaver dam has respawned here at all yet. Yeah, it's very difficult for me to pass on the chance of getting cementing paste out of a dam. Yeah, if I see a dam, I'm getting whatever's in there. That's very valuable. Yeah, so I'll definitely make a video on that, going from what route I like to take, going from dam to dam to dam, and hitting up all the dam locations. So that way, once you see the route that I like to take, maybe you could kind of adapt that route, or modify it to however you want to use it. At the very least, you'll know where to find the dam nodes. You'll know where to find the damned nodes. Yeah, so remember how long it took me to get into that northwest corner on the raft? Like, on the Pteranodon, it takes a fraction of the time. Which makes sense. I don't have to go around the whole coastline. But the Pteranodon's pretty freaking fast, too. To be honest, like when you're out doing raft expeditions, you kind of miss home, like the security of it. Everything's there. All of your resource gathering dinos, and it's just like home. So this was actually kind of a nice break from the hostility of the northwest corner, anyway. But it's going to be short-lived. I'm grabbing the vegetables, I am grabbing some berries, and I'm gone. Yeah, so I'm only going to end up with maybe like 80 vegetables. Kind of a bummer. I had like 90, I think, maybe 120 in the preserving bin. So the vegetables rot really fast in the person's inventory. They rot less fast in your dino's inventory. So I'll end up putting these in the Pteranodon to preserve as many as possible. Obviously, you don't want to put the vegetables in an herbivore to store them because they'll eat them. But Pteranodons eat meat, so my vegetables are safe inside of it. Stegosaur, quick way to get berries. Just a couple swings of the tails, grab the measure berries. Good deal. Go tame that Doedicurus. Yeah, actually, most files I do get pretty lucky with the Doedicurus, and I was kind of surprised that I didn't have the same result this time, where the Doedicurus is right on that peninsula, and I can just kill off the predators and kite the Doedicurus onto the raft. And I've always usually been pretty lucky in the past as well with it being a higher level Doedicurus, at least level 120 or something. So But I'm happy. I'm just happy to have a Doedicurus at all, to be honest. And we'll see once we get back to Sanctuary Island and we test it out. I think it will be just fine, at least for now. I'll keep an eye open. You know, if I see a Doedicurus, I'll use my spyglass, and if it's a higher level one, I'll be sure to get it. And we haven't gotten there yet. But like a strategy for taming out in the wilds, like if you don't really have the capacity to kite a certain dinosaur out to the ocean where your raft is, a lot of times it's just going to be easier to tame it on spot. So if that's the case, especially with the Doedicurus that can't move very fast, I would use my Pteranodon, make sure all the predators in the surrounding area were killed, and then I would go to the Doedicurus, trank it out, and set up metal spikes around it, and a pretty wide berth around the Doedicurus itself. That way, if like raptors or dilos or whatever try to get at it, they won't be able to reach past the metal spikes and hit it. I mean, really, you could set the metal spikes around the Doedicurus before you even started to trank it out if you wanted. Kind of trap it in an area. Another beauty about the S Plus, because then once you're done with taming it, you just pick the metal spikes back up and out you go. Like you were never there. Of course, then you gotta get the Doedicurus out of the woods. But at least now it's tamed and you can kind of control it. Hopefully you'll have a saddle for it and you can ride it out of the woods. The Doedicurus's secondary move allows it to roll, and it rolls at a pretty fast rate, and it does use stamina fairly quickly, but yeah, and actually, you know what? I take back my previous statement. If I were to get a Doedicurus and tame it out in the middle of the woods with metal spikes and everything, I would probably just have it follow me out of the woods. I'd stay on my Pteranodon and just have it follow. And I think it will actually go into rolling mode to keep up with you, and it doesn't run out of stamina because you're not on it. So, yeah, I take back that previous statement about riding the Doedicurus out. The only thing you gotta worry about if you're doing that metal spike thing out in the middle of the wilderness is that birds can still get at whatever dino you have within the metal walls, metal spike walls. That's also the strategy that I use for Quetzal taming, because you'll knock out the Quetzal out of the sky. It's going to fall down. It's some random location on the ground. Hopefully you timed out your trank arrows or trank darts so it didn't fall into the water and drown. And hopefully it doesn't fall and land right next to an alpha raptor or a carno or whatever. But you trank out a Ketz, it falls, it lands on the ground, and you get your ass down there as fast as you can and set up those metal spikes around it to try to secure it. And then you can tame it from there. And hopefully you got a Pteranodon, or at the very least an Argent. And you can take care of the flying dinos that might swoop down to try and hit your Quetzal, which they shouldn't, but... Alright, taming pretty fast. Get the Doedicurus saddle. 20 engram points, that's a good deal. So I'm only going to get plus 8 levels, maybe. Oh, no, it's plus 19. Okay, so it might end up, you know, around level 55, maybe. Better than level 40. can't let an argent egg go. Kind of an interesting way to get it. So one lesson that I learned from that preserving bin getting destroyed is what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set up ceilings all the way around the body of the base area of the raft, and I'm going to set more metal spikes all the way around the perimeter of that body, and I think that will greatly help prevent dinosaurs from reaching through and hitting my stuff in there. Really what I should probably just do is get a power generator in the raft and just use refrigerators. I probably still want one reserving bin just to turn prime meat jerky into, or raw prime meat into prime meat jerky on the spot. They just don't have very much health. The refrigerators have a good amount of health. Like, I don't think whatever destroyed the preserving bin would have destroyed a refrigerator if I had a refrigerator instead of a preserving bin. Pretty resource intensive though, especially for where I'm at. W. Okay, got the Doedicurus. Pretty happy about that. That's always kind of a hassle to get the first Doedicurus. And then once you get, okay, level 60 or 59, not bad. I'll probably pump it with melee damage and stamina. And then maybe weight eventually, but I can have a hauler follow us around while we collect rock. And, you know, just like the beaver has an advantage to carrying large amounts of wood, I'm pretty sure the Doedicurus has an advantage of carrying more than usual rock or stone. And then the Ankylosaur, I think, can carry more metal than a typical dinosaur would because it's its specialty. So yeah, I know that didn't seem like a very big deal, grabbing that egg with that scorpion close by, but if that scorpion would have hit me, I could have been in some serious trouble. Okay, yeah, see, so my Pteranodon's on passive, and for some reason, it ended up there, so I'm just called it with T as in tango. Got out of there, no problem. It took some damage, but not a terrible amount. I'm glad that I was vigilant enough to notice that the Pteranodon wasn't with me. That could have been easily overlooked. And when you lose a tame dino, you get red text at the top center of your screen saying the name of your dino has died. And that's a horrible feeling. It's kind of like that punch to the gut type of feeling, like, I suck at whistling. One of my really good friends, Elliot, I should ask him if he wants to join in on the server madness, but we just got done with our deployment in Japan, Okinawa, Japan, and it was miserable, that deployment in Japan. What was it, 2011, when the nuclear reactor at Fukushima melted down? We had our surveillance aircrafts flying over the wreckage, and I was put on the Radcon team. I was in charge of the Radcon team on my shift, so I had to get dressed up in radioactive gear, got the Geiger counter, got the log and had to go over every square inch of the P3 looking for hot spots of radioactivity, which I never found because our aircraft flew high enough over it that it didn't get soaked. There was a helicopter that came back, a Marine helicopter, just soaking with radiation, and the Marines that were on the helicopter had to go and get like special treatment or something. But anyway, that 2011 Fukushima reactor meltdown happened not long after we got there, so our 6-month deployment had just begun. That happened, and that happened not that far away, and we were working like 16 hours every day for 6 months straight, and it was a freaking nightmare. Like, that was the lowest morale in any group of people I've ever seen in my entire life. So, okay, so where I'm going with this, we were talking about whistling, right? So, deployment finally ended, and we were on the plane going back home to Hawaii, and I'm sitting next to Elliot, and me and Elliot, we have our, we're sitting next to each other. It's just a two-row seat, two-seat row, so just me and him, and I'm on the window side. And we get close, and you can see the island of Oahu out the window, and it just looks beautiful. Oh, the turquoise water and the lush green mountains and shit. I'll never forget it. And especially after a deployment like that. And Elliot taps me on the shoulder and he goes, "Oh, look out the window." So I look out the window and I see the island, and Elliot starts whistling the perfect rendition of the Jurassic Park theme song in my ear. And he whistled the whole thing while I looked out the window at the beautiful island of Oahu. It was hilarious because if you know anything about the Navy or the military avionics side, there's plane captains or yellow shirts, whatever you want to call them, and you go out there and you spend a lot of time out in front of the aircrafts, a ton of time out in front of the aircraft. So what Elliot would do is when he was out there turning up the engines for maintenance turns or whatever, he would just stand out there and whistle, and he got really good at it. And he blessed me with it. Yeah, I'll never forget that. I miss Elliot. Yeah, I'm gonna ask him this, and he's funny as hell too. Oh my god, if I could get Blaze, Land, and Elliot together, and plus Molly and plus Brooke. No, it'd be awesome to have Molly and Brooke. But it would be hilarious. I think I don't even care how well it would do on YouTube. I just think it would naturally be a hit. Some of the funniest people I've ever met. Yeah, I want to see, you can pick up Scorpions with the Argent, as you saw, and I wanted to see if you could pick it up while it was unconscious, because I wanted to take it out and then put a different Scorpion in, but can't do it, so I'm just going to have to do one at a time. Yeah, and they just eat rotten meat, no big deal. I think there's a kibble for them. But like the rotten meat is like vegetables to a herbivore. Like it's a pretty reasonable way to tame them. So, and there's no reason you'd ever need a perfect tame scorpion. Not that I can think of. All I've ever used them for is their eggs. So I'd like to get, 4 or 5 females and then 1 male. The one male, when you notice when there's a male and a female of the same dinosaur, you get that little heart icon above them. They have a mating bonus, a mate bonus, which helps their attack and defense, but it also allows them the females to lay eggs more frequently. I'm pretty sure, anyway. Like, I'm fairly certain that's the way it works. Okay, level 230 Scorpion. Looking for more Scorpions. Or if I see a really high level Sabertooth, I'd go for that. Yeah, I'm such a gaming nerd. So when I'm at the office, the real estate office, and there's not much going on, or I'm waiting for something and I can't really commit to anything else, I play games on my phone. And typically I don't really like phone games because I don't think the majority of the time they offer enough depth for it to be interesting to me. But I was playing Fallout Shelter, which I think is a fun game. And I've gotten to the point where there's no more missions to do, and actually, like, every dweller in my vault has maxed out stats, and most of them have the legendary, the yellow gear on, yellow armor and yellow weapons, and so, like, I've depleted Fallout Shelter. There's nothing more I can really do. Like, everything is almost as good as it can get, and like, I just feel like I've beaten the game. So I started Adventure Capitalist, which I like it because I like systems, and I like trying to figure out ways to optimize systems. But there's not a whole lot, like, when you play it, there's not a whole lot that you can do immediately. Like, it's just like, yeah, build that, buy that, okay. Now I'm going to forget about it for a while and save a bunch of money. And then when I log back in, buy this, buy that, get an upgrade, get a manager, and then, okay, done. So I like it, the system aspect, but I just wish that there were more things to do other than click this, click that, and you're done. But I'm going to stick it out, see if I can optimize the system better than others and be the best. They've got events where an event starts and you try to make more money than everybody else, more quickly than everybody else. So I think that's an interesting aspect, competitive aspect, and of course you're rewarded for doing well with that. There's that level 200 female that I left out in the middle of the ocean earlier, I think. Yeah, so that other one's a male. I'm grabbing this female. And the idea is, although neither of them are extraordinary levels, they'll give each other that mating bonus. So, for the caves where there's no lava and no death falls or anything like that, I can bring multiple Sabertooths in with me. Yeah, so I'm actually narrating this video back to back with the previous video, and yeah, on day 14, that last video, Ember was up on the top of the mattress, and she's still up there. She's sleeping. It's a good spot for the gremlin. She always knows what I'm talking about, or she just lifted her head and kind of made a purring sound and looked at me, and now she tucked her head back into her paws. She's a sleepy girl. Okay, so while I've been up here, I've gotten a bunch of oil. I've gotten a fair amount of crystal. Going on 2 Sabertooths. Got a Doedicurus. Got a Scorpion. Gonna work on getting more Scorpions. Yeah, so I mean, it's been productive. Haven't died yet, so that's awesome. Yeah, and you can see the ultimate spyglass, which shows you the torpor level and the health level. It's a little glitchy. You gotta kind of work it so it actually displays on the thing that you're aiming at. You'll see what I'm talking about when you build it and use it yourself. It's just a little bit glitchy. Totally worth it though. It's really nice being able to see how close the thing you're trying to tame is to dying. So you know if you can dump a bunch of trank arrows into it, or if you have to shoot and wait, or if you even just have to wait a while for its health to come back, hopefully more quickly than the torpor wears off. So I hope that makes sense. It did in my head. Yeah, I had a torch in that little corner room there at one point, but that must have gotten destroyed with the preserving bin and campfires. No real major loss, but I'm going to definitely need to remind myself to build the ceilings around the base and build the metal spikes to maybe try to prevent that from happening again. That would have really sucked, like if I had a storage box with a ton of really good shit in it, and then, surprise, I just find out it disappeared at some point. That would be a pretty upsetting ordeal. I mean, this time it was a preserving bin with some vegetables in it, but what if it were a smithy with a bunch of Ascension blueprints in it, or a storage box with a bunch of Ascendant gear in it, and stacks of narcotics and appetizers? That would be pretty demoralizing. So it'd be worth the time to build the ceilings and the metal spikes to go around everything, just to try to ensure that that won't happen again. Worth a shot anyway. Can't hurt. Sometimes I just wonder how modders do it. Like, do they have like a program that the Ark developers use that's kind of streamlined and easy to figure out? I can't imagine that making mods would be easy. I mean, obviously they just stole the spyglass, you know, the design of it, but then they messed with the internal HUD of the spyglass. I can't fathom how you would begin to do that, but I'm glad someone figured it out. Yeah, a couple things that I think would be really nice for the future of Ark. One of them, wildcard, getting enough servers to the point where you don't need to spend money on private servers or set up your own third computer private server, because that's a pain in the ass. I just spend, you know, the $15 for the Craft and Survive server every month. It's easy setup, and it's $15 a month, so not too detrimental to the wallet. Yeah, but it'd be nice if they had enough servers where you could have your own private server, no problem. Or if you could just play LAN and not have the tethering between the players. And then also, I think it'd be nice if they had an archive of streamlined mods that just became part of the game. You know, completed mods. Like S+. Like, just get rid of the vanilla shit and replace it with all the S+ stuff. And make that vanilla. And then have the archive of mods. You know, the Classic Flyers mod that's just built right into the game. It's just an option that you can choose from. I mean, it's close to being like that with the Steam Workshop. But then you get, you know, the Ark updates and, oh, you forgot to update your S+ mod and your Classic Flyers mod. Now you have to scrounge around and try to get back to where you were at. So it's about 3:30 in the morning. Just gonna clean up some stuff. Got the saber tooth knocked out. We can work on that on the next day. Clean up the bird's inventory. Make sure I can figure out where I'm at next time I actually hop on to play. It helps just to spend a little bit of time to make sure everything's put away and organized. Let's see here. Yeah. Looking good. Yeah, it would have sucked to lose this storage box. I got some good shit in there. So I'm grateful it was just the preserving bin. Alright, that's it for today. See you next time.